So on this most recent Power Report, Bam Season I actually ended up talking about Kanye West, before his apology letter / full page Wall Street Journal ad even dropped. So I'm actually going to play the statement at the end of the video so you can experience that in chronological order with that in mind. And I also would give a content warning for some of it. There are some mentions of some dark mental health things in there. So that's another reason for leaving it at the end. But if you do want to watch it, let me know what you think in the comments below, and let you know what you think of what Bam Season I said right here.
It's a shame that movement. I don't know if you guys saw the videos of Nick Fuentes and
the club
Sneeko and
yeah, I did.
Myron dude from like in the club singing the Kanye song. Like there's like some.
Do you know the chorus of the song, Bam?
Yeah, I've heard it a couple times. It's terrible, but it's dumb. It's like ridiculous. Also, just like a bad song. Okay, actually, I'll say this really fast. You know, the other day I was like driving to the store and I like thought about Kanye, and I genuinely, I'm not being facetious at all. I genuinely was like, wait, did he die? Because he is so irrelevant right now. Yeah. Like he is nowhere. And I know he hates it so much because Donald Trump takes all the air out the room, dude. Like Donald Trump gets all the freaking media, and Kanye can't even stick a freaking foot in the door. I have not heard nothing about him for so long. The last thing was the videos of him like screaming at Kim and somebody else. Yeah. And like, I have not, and those are old, but it's like, I have not heard nothing about it. I genuinely for a second was like, wait, did he die?
But to that point, he was doing all of that. Like, I'm pro Trump, like I'm all this, the HH stuff, because that was deemed as edgy and mainstream. And, that was deemed as edgy and outside the mainstream. Right. Now that shit is not only in the mainstream, but he's like the old head of being edgy, white supremacist adjacent, because like now you have like Nick Fuentes is an old head. Now you have this like Nick Shirley illiterate guy in Minneapolis talking about talking about fraud that's going on by Somali immigrants. Meanwhile, Donald Trump does a fraud every 6 to 10 seconds of some kind, or like pardon someone like that. It's just a closing that Kanye point, like his shtick doesn't work because his entire shtick is going against the grain in whatever way. And the only way he could go against the grain right now is if he says Donald Trump doesn't care about white women or something like that. And like no one's gonna be like, you gotta give it to some people will. This is America, of course. Like he's just not gonna be able to come back.
Nicole Good passes away. Donald Trump doesn't care about white women will be a very funny tweet. That'd be a funny tweet to read.
That'd be like the reverse black square. That'd be like the white square.
Yeah, people would do the meme like let him cook, like let him.
Like Kanye West handing an ICE agent a Starbucks frappuccino.
Yeah.
Yeah, I genuinely thought, I was like, wait, did he die? So I haven't heard.
When like Kanye's appeal, especially like how he becomes successful in his like alternative route, is when he does it solo. He's great at being like, I'm over here and y'all over here because I'm this brilliant mind, right? Eat that shit up. But the real issue that Kanye didn't realize is that capitulating to being like, I'm gonna take the Nazi side because that's so crazy. You know what's messed up, dog? Whitey been doing that for a long time, thinking they were edgy. We used to make fun of those guys thinking they were edgy, but that's not the same vein as like the notion of like making fun of a nerd. That's different. Like that's a different kind of energy you have for like the skinhead versus like a nerd or whatever, that kind of playground beef logic that Kanye operates on. So you've fallen off when it's Myron, Sneeko, Nick Fuentes, when that's the magnetism that comes to you off of your grift is like you get those bums. They're not cool. They're not cool in any objective sense. Anything that Kanye does that's edgy is supposed to enlighten to make him look cool. Like he wants to innately be cool and respected. But you attracted a bunch of fucking groiper losers. So no one thinks those guys are cool other than other groipers and losers. So and no matter what for him.
And not even that. The three people you just named, none of them are even white. like Myron is a freaking Arab dude. Like he's freaking.
Did you see his video after? It's one of the craziest videos I've ever seen.
No, I didn't see that, but
don't ever look at it. Don't ever look up that video after the response. That man, we needed to lock him up a while back. Yeah, that core is just not going to get you nowhere. And Kanye, I mean, he's so dead that he only pops up. I have them blocked for years on my social media. I still get something that sneaks through, and I'm like, this is the worst part of what sneaks through is this loser shit. Like, you're such a bum now. It took all this, by the way, for him to finally release Cheap Clothes. It took all this shit, all these years where he was mad at us for being mad at him for releasing $150 white t-shirts. Now he's releasing, cheap clothing online. I'm like, that's how I know you're falling the fuck off the century. Like, it took you to capitulate now to sell cheap versions of your cool designs.
Kanye West is modeling in Skims now.
Yeah.
Caesar shirts are $130 minimum.
Yeah.
But they at least graphic.
I don't do that broke shit.
Hello, it's post-production Dan here in the morning again. The full page ad reads, "To those I've hurt," by Ye, formerly known as Kanye West. 25 years ago, I was in a car accident that broke my jaw and caused injury to the right frontal lobe of my brain. At the time, the focus was on the visible damage, the fracture, the swelling, and the immediate physical trauma. The deeper injury, the one inside my skull, went unnoticed. Comprehensive scans were not done, neurological exams were limited, and the possibility of a frontal lobe injury was never raised. It wasn't properly diagnosed until 2023. That medical oversight caused serious damage to my mental health and led to my bipolar type 1 diagnosis. Bipolar disorder comes with its own defense system, denial. When you're manic, you don't think you're sick. You think everyone else is overreacting. You feel like you're seeing the world more clearly than ever, when in reality, you're losing your grip entirely. Once people label you as crazy, you feel as if you cannot contribute anything meaningful to the world. It's easy for people to joke and laugh it off when in fact this is a very serious, debilitating disease you can die from. According to the World Health Organization, and Cambridge University, people with bipolar disorder have a life expectancy that is shortened by 10 to 15 years on average and a 2 to 3 times higher all-cause mortality rate than the general population. This is on par with severe heart disease, type 1 diabetes, HIV, and cancer, all lethal and fatal if left untreated. The scariest thing about this disorder is how persuasive it is when it tells you you don't need help. It makes you blind, but convinced you have insight. You feel powerful, certain, and unstoppable. I lost touch with reality. Things got worse the longer I ignored the problem. I said and did things I deeply regret. Some of the people I love the most, I treated the worst. You endured fear, confusion, humiliation, and the exhaustion of trying to love someone who was, at times, unrecognizable. Looking back, I became detached from my true self. In that fractured state, I gravitated towards the most destructive symbol I could find, the swastika, and even sold t-shirts bearing it. One of the difficult aspects of having bipolar type 1 are the disconnected moments, many of which I still cannot recall, that led to poor judgment and reckless behavior that oftentimes feels like an out-of-body experience. I regret and am deeply mortified by my actions in that state, and am committed to accountability, treatment, and meaningful change. It does not excuse what I did, though. I am not a Nazi or an anti-Semite. I love Jewish people. To the Black community, which held me down through all the highs and lows and the darkest of times. The Black community is unquestionably the foundation of who I am. I am sorry to have let you down. I love us. In early 2025, I fell into a 4-month-long manic episode of psychotic, paranoid, and impulsive behavior that destroyed my life. As the situation became increasingly unsustainable, there were times I didn't want to be here anymore. Having bipolar disorder is not a state of constant mental illness. When you go into the manic episode, you are ill at that point. When you're not in an episode, you're completely quote-unquote normal. And that's when the wreckage from the illness hits the hardest. Hitting rock bottom a few months ago, my wife encouraged me to finally get help. I have found comfort in Reddit forums of all places. Different people speak of being in manic or depressive episodes of a similar nature. I read their stories and realize that I was not alone. It's not just me who ruins their entire life once a year despite taking meds every day and being told by the so-called best doctors in the world that I am not bipolar, but merely experiencing quote-unquote symptoms of autism. My words as a leader in my community have real global impact and influence. In my mania, I lost complete sight of that. As I find my new baseline and center through an effective regime of medication, therapy, exercise, and clean living, I have newfound, much-needed clarity. I'm pouring my energy into positive, meaningful art, music, clothing, design, and other new ideas to help the world. I'm not asking for sympathy or a free pass, though I aspire to earn your forgiveness. I write today simply to ask for your patience and understanding as I find my way home. The letter's signed with love. And the title is, again, To Those I've Hurt, under the banner paid advertisement in the 26th of January 2026 edition of the Wall Street Journal. My take is that it isn't the first time he's apologized for this only to continue his behavior, and it probably won't be the last. Anyways, back to the rest of this.